Welcome to What If, a show which discusses what the newest episode of Doctor Who, Series 10, 2017, would be like if it was a classic Who episode. I am Ben.
I am Luke.
And I'm Nick.
So, what would Smile be like if it was a classic Who episode? Firstly, there'd be more supporting characters.
Well, nowadays, we can have that sort of two-hander because in 45 minutes, you can't bring in too many people and then characterise them and have it all wrapped up. Whereas Classic Who, even in the very stripped-back ones like The Ark in Space, relevance, they'd introduce all the characters early on and then they'd be able to develop them cheaply throughout the story. There, you couldn't sustain the Doctor and Companion only for the course of 90 minutes. The audience would get bored for one.
Yep, so it's a timing issue.
Smile very much seems like a piece where we're trying to develop Bill's character. In Classic Who, you would not have so much emphasis on trying to develop the Companion's character, as it were. The Companion was much less of a focus in Classic Who than New Who.
So towards the end of Classic Who with the Ace trilogy, that you really got that focus on the Companion.
Yeah, which, if anything, ended up as being the prototype towards New Who. So
yeah,
it all balances on a tightrope very nicely.
A big difference would be that the robots would be the villains, because the big fear factor of this one is that it's a base under siege where the base itself is the monster that's sieging you, which is novel. However, in the old show, it would just be the robots attacking the base, and it would be way too expensive to do. It would be one of those season 17 sort of stories.
Yeah. We're very good at finding the exclusion proving the rule here.
That's what Classic Who did a lot, though. Have all of those strange bits.
But mainly, it conformed for budgetary reasons to the fact that we have a hero, a villain, and the hero overthrows the villain. A good simple tale of good and evil.
I would then say another difference is in Classic Who, the robots would not be viewed as having a grey morality. They're not necessarily good or bad, but they would be black and white, where, in Wotan is obviously in the War Machines quite evil. It's not given a sympathetic treatment at all, nor is the robot and robot. The Doctor there doesn't try and reason with it. He just destroys both of the robots. He doesn't seem to have any problem with that. Whilst here, he wants to negotiate with the robot and treats it as an equal to the humans. That wouldn't happen in the classic show.
Yes, if anything, New Who has now progressed towards the morally grey attitude to fit in with recent times, versus the more morally black and white era of Classic Who, Cold War, and all that jazz.
I would say a lot of this also comes from the fact that as time has marched on, we have realised that robots have so much more potential to be probably even more intelligent than humans are in maybe, let's say, 40, 50 years' time.
Yes, we have been able to include them into our increasingly diffusive society.
Okay, so a similarity would be, in this one, we saw there were a few locations. There was a big emphasis on the central city, which is the base, and they at various points you see the same sets being reused throughout the story, and that feels very Classic Who-y, and it's also very classic that they wander around initially kind of exploring it, and there's a slow build-up. Arguably the first 20 minutes also feel like what episode 1 of a classic story running in real time.
Yeah, it's good that we have that ability to explore the base before all of the main action happens, which was the strength of Classic Who. And
we're more invested in the story of the base when the plot finally happens now. We've had this time to kind of look around and be intrigued by what's happened. Why is no one here?
Learn of the stakes and therefore are invested in it when said stakes are raised.
And unlike a lot of New Who, where we sort of know the plot instantly, Here, you're not entirely sure what's going on. You knew a little bit from the pre-title sequence of the robots killed someone, but you don't know fully what's been going on. So there's a bit of mystery that gets peeled, like an onion where layers get peeled back throughout the episode, which doesn't happen in a lot of New Who.
New Who and by extension both Classic Who, I'd argue, are able to throw a few curveballs in that the story's plot twists around because of some important development of the plot. So the Doctor says, no, I can't blow up the base now, and that's something I suppose would happen at the end of part 3 or 4 of a 4-parter or a 6-parter in Classic Who.
A major similarity to the classic show is the resetting that happens at the end, although the screwdriver wouldn't have been the one to do it. When they reset all of the robots, it seems like something the third Doctor would do with a device, or the fourth Doctor would do from the central computer. The problem with this is minor, but you wouldn't have the gag at the end where there's the suggestion that the robots would be charging rent to the colonists. In Hartnell time, it was always, they have overthrown the overlords. Yay! Thank you, Doctor. Whereas here, there's that subtle gag with the pound sign emojis. Obviously, it's just sort of a bad execution, but it's not something you would have found back then.
Yeah, this is a moral dilemma which is resolved with the rent scenario type joke rather than the traditional, you have overthrown everybody, and never mind the ramifications of this overthrow. The resolution is also similar, if it were treated as a Classic Who episode. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Watch the main podcast. Next week, what if Thin Ice was a Classic Who episode? I have been Ben.
I have been Luke.
And I've been Nick.
Thank you. Goodbye.